ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ನಿಂದು ಬಂತು ನೋಡಿ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದ
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಾರ ನೋಡು ನಾ ಏನು ನೋಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿತ್ತದನೋ ಆವಾಜ
ಈಗಿನ್ನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ
AirPods connected.
I don't think anybody is connected.
ಏನು ಮುಟ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಡ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಚ್ ಇಟ್
But very low volume.
ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಣ್ಣ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ You can talk also. ನೀವು ಮಾತಾಡಿದವ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ತದೆ ಓಕೆ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಟಾಕ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಲಿಸನ್
Gotcha. Pathak sir, can you hear me? Hello. Pathak sir, can you hear me? Hello. Mr. Pathak, can you hear me? TBR sir, can you hear me?
Confidence. We have proved that we do not bow. Confidence. We have proved that we do not bow under any external pressure. We have also proved that we are a responsible nation. Whatever we do in the sphere of national security, we do so for self-defense, never for aggression. And when an enemy commits aggression on us, we have proved in Kargil that we can teach him a fitting lesson. Kargil has given India immeasurable strength and self-confidence. It has imbued the spirit of Operation VIJAY among all sections of our people. The entire country contributed to the success of Operation Vijay. The heroes and martyrs of Kargil belong to almost all parts of the country. Today I bow my head to respect and in respect and gratitude to the martyrs from Tamil Nadu. People belonging to all castes and creeds participated in funerals of Jawans belonging to their towns and villages. During the Kargil conflict, the entire country raised its clenched fist of unity, whose force left the enemy stunned. The phrase from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, India is one showed with its inner truth during the Kargil conflict. By the successful way we handled the war in Kargil, our government showed its capability to ensure external security. True terrorism and extremism are still alive in some parts of the country, but we are determined to crush them whatever it takes. The sponsors of terrorism across the border should not test either our patience or our ability in this matter.
So that was Prime Minister Vajpayee speaking in Tamil Nadu at an election meeting after the Kargil war. You could hear it?
काय इथे इथे इथे
Can you hear me?
We can, sir.
Okay. Could you hear Vajpayee's speech?
Sir,
Vajpayee का speech सुनाई दिया?
सुना हाँ ये first class.
अच्छा, okay.
Sir, has he joined? Pandey sir has joined.
No, he hasn't joined.
I just now talked to him. He's joining.
अच्छा, okay. Okay. I think he's come. आज 13 लोग आए हैं अभी तक 13. We'll wait for 3 more minutes.
अभी बढ़ेंगे थोड़ा. We have. I pass on the message to number of groups. Let us see. कल तो पहला webinar था ना after very long time.
I know.
So it was.
11 हो गए, कम हो गए. Pandey has not yet come. Unless he's Samsung.
No, I don't know. They are writing some Samsung and some other phone name. Who are they actually? They should write their own name instead of writing identity in terms of your mobile description.
ये Samsung SM S901E किसका है? नाम बताइए प्लीज. चैनी.
हाँ चैनी.
नहीं यार नाम चैनी का तो है, ऊपर है ऑलरेडी.
देखिए सैमसंग ऐसे 990 S990T. Who is it? Could you please tell us? Then there is one Motorola H30 Fusion. वो भी किसका है पता नहीं. There are two unknown people. Quatra sir has joined. Then Sinha sir also has joined. JW Sinha. Welcome both of you, sir.
क्वात्रा सर मतलब हेलीकॉप्टर वाले क्वात्रा सर?
नहीं, he is 71 war.
अच्छा, ओके ओके.
वीर चक्रा.
ओके.
इंदौर रोश.
राइट. जय हिंद सर. You are muted. I think SM Chenny. Should we start? It's 35.
Yeah, this is my first webinar, so I
Hi,
have to install it and then after I came online. But I can't see anyone other than myself on this screen.
Okay, are you on your mobile or laptop?
I'm on my mobile.
हाँ, इसलिए वो नजर नहीं आता है. Don't worry.
Okay.
How are you, Pandey?
बस बढ़िया हूँ सर.
Good.
All well.
Good. So, Pathak Saab, with your permission, can we start? We have only, how many people are there? Both come.
There are 13 participants.
13, including you and me.
So,
Where are you? You have a fan overhead. That means you are not in Kedarnath.
I'm in Dehradun sir right now.
Okay.
Yes, we do our daily flying Char Dham. That is Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath, Badrinath.
Yeah.
I can see you in between.
Your micro.
ये who has got this? Patra साहब का बंद करता हूँ मैं एक मिनट.
Hello.
Yes.
It's a light behind you, sir. That should go off.
मैं बंद कर रहा हूँ यहाँ से.
अच्छा.
Should we start?
Yes, sir.
I think we should start. So, good evening, everybody. On behalf of all the veterans over here, I welcome all of you all for this webinar, which is essentially on the helicopter operations during 1999 Kargil conflict. Now, yesterday we had the start of the first in the series of Kargil conflict, in which we spoke to a fighter pilot, a MiG-23 pilot, a Commodore Mehta. And today we have with us a dear friend of mine, Wing Commander Pandey, who is joining us from Dehradun. So he is the one who flies Char Dham Yatra. In case you all are interested, contact him and he'll give you not a free ride, but he'll give you a ticket, out of turn. Hopefully. It's very difficult to get a ticket otherwise. Isn't it, Pandey?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Pandey, a little introduction of Wing Commander Pandey. He joined the Indian Air Force in 1988 as a helicopter pilot. And in the initial 3 postings, he only flew the Mi-8 helicopter. And that was in the Northeast as well as in Bombay as well as in Karnikobar. So he loves the sea and the hills. So he has been doing that all his life. During Kargil, he was posted in Hindon, from where the detachment was sent to Srinagar, from where he operated during the Kargil conflict. And we will be speaking to him about the helicopter operations in particular today, and some general questions about what was happening over there. You see, what was happening, like I told you yesterday, there was a big meeting held when they found that the MiG-23s and the MiG-27s the bombs were falling short, or they were falling a little ahead, and because of which, even if a few meters, if you miss the target, the bomb would fall into the valley, and it would lead to no destruction of the enemy. In fact, some of it also led to some fratricide. We lost some of our own men because of the debris. So a decision was taken to induct the helicopters armed with rockets Now the Mi-8 helicopter, Mi-17 helicopter in those times could carry 192 rockets in 6 pods fitted on the wings, on the trusses of the aircraft. And they were, I think, the Hindon unit was the one which was tasked for the offensive part of the helicopter operations. Other than that, there were Chetaks, not the Chetaks, the Cheetahs from some from Leh, some from Hindon, which were there. There were Cheetahs of the Aerope, which were flying there. The Mi-17s, the Mi-26 also flew a large number of missions about which we will talk a little later. And a large amount of sorties were flown by these helicopters to transport the Bofors, the guns, the medium guns, artillery guns were transported to forward locations from where they started firing on the enemy positions, as well as a large number of troops were inducted to their posts by the Cheetah helicopters. So large amount of work for the war fighting was carried out by our helicopters. So with that as a backdrop, we will start by welcoming Pandey. Pandey, good evening and welcome to the show. So I am told that on that particular day, the Mi-17 detachment was under Mokashi. Is it right?
No, it was under AK Sinha.
No, that was later. That was later. AK Sinha inducted later, but the normal detachment that was going on in Srinagar was under Mokashi, who gave me the initial story as to how the helicopters were inducted. At one point in time, just before the actual operation started, there were 17 helicopters at the Srinagar airfield, Srinagar and Avantipur airfield. So there was a large amount of fleet of helicopters that was present there. So what was your first impression of landing at Srinagar and looking at what was happening? What was the intelligence that was available to you? What were you told when you left Hindon? And what was your first impression?
Sir, actually, we used to man detachment from Srinagar. Alternate month, we used to operate from Hindon, and next month Sarsawa used to operate. So we both used to operate all along Dras, Gurez, and entire northeast area and northern Himalayas. So I went there on 16th of May, 1999. And that day we started inducting troops towards Gurez from Kupwara. Unfortunately, I met with an accident during that time because that was my last sortie of the day when army troops carried ammunition in Dekhi. And when I picked up that time, I realized that aircraft is quite heavy. And I offloaded 3 troops, that is around 360 kg. But when I took off that time, I realized I was short of power and I chopped off one tree. I was going into empty section in Kupwara. So I turned the aircraft into river and subsequently I took off from there and landed at Srinagar. So on the very first day of starting detachment, I had this accident. And subsequently, we continued flying because I got a call from no less than CNC that this is an operational loss, you start flying. I was detachment commander, sir. And this was only one Mi-17 operating on 16th of May that time. Subsequently, all the aircraft started coming in. There were actually winds of war in Srinagar. First aircraft which was shot by Stinger missile in Butalik sector was Canberra, and it landed at Srinagar. And on 26th of May, Chief came to Srinagar and he declared that Air Force will be taking part in this operation, and from tomorrow onwards we'll start attack. Okay, that was the first information we got, and quite surprisingly, it was a secret mission, but he came and it was a hush-hush meeting actually. But our MTD told us that Chief is coming here and he has invited you for the briefing. Okay, that was the starting point. Then on 27th, we had 2 attacks. One was on Tiger Hill, one was on Tololing, which was quite successful because they never expected that helicopter will attack from such close range, and we fired some 126 rocket each aircraft. And for Tiger Hill, actually, okay, we'll start this way, sir. For Tiger Hill, we went 4 aircraft formation. And from Matayan, we used to pick up a observer from there, the army observer, so that he used to pinpoint the target, because we didn't have actual information where exactly Mujahideen / Pakistani army were there. And we went towards north of Tiger Hill, and from around 5.3 kilometer, we carried out an attack. We could spot some tracks and Sangad also, because from 1.5 kilometer, you can see Sangad quite separate. And subsequently on HF, within these 2 days, army intercepted some messages where about 40 odd people were killed, sir, at Tiger Hill and Tololing. We have some recording also where, while we carried out attack on Tololing, which was just above Dras, and from there they could direct firing on NH1 and even on Dras army post. There was some petrol dump, public ammunition dump caught fire. That was captured on video, handheld video recording. So these 2 attacks were carried out on 27th. And on 28th May, unfortunately, we lost the aircraft. The story goes like, we were total 6 aircrafts which were supposed to attack on. I can't hear you, sir, actually.
Pandey, we will keep the Mohilan sortie and Pundi sortie towards the end.
Okay.
We'll go in a logical fashion in terms of the days that we were flying. So the first day you said that you had carried out sorties at Tololing as well as. Now, there is a difference in how the helicopter operates versus how the fighters operate. You are trying to make use of the sun position and come in towards the hill from the east in the early mornings times and from the west during the evening times. Am I right?
No, sir. Sir, Kargil LC is approximately east to west. And LC is about.
Hello? Somebody is, Mr. Damle, please mute, yeah. Yeah. Hello? Where is he gone?
Okay. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Abhi bolo. We missed you for the last minute or so.
Okay. Sir, all these posts which were captured by Pakistanis were about 7 to 10 kilometers from LC. And because of turning radius, they were unable to attack from north. And most of these posts or Sangat were towards north of the post. That is, Tiger Hill Peak is there. North of that was actually their post. So attacking fighters by east to west or west to east had.
Hello?
Now you can hear me, sir?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah, okay.
It automatically mutes actually in between.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
So the fighter used to attack either east to west or west to east. And those attacks were not very effective on Sangats and Mujahid / Pakistani army who were holding those posts. So what attack we carried out on Tiger Hill, we went towards north, and from north to south we carried out attacks.
Okay.
Similarly,
Okay.
north to south. And they never expected that aircraft will come from the northerly direction and get into the mouth of their Sangats and establishment. That was the basically maximum damage was carried out helicopters during first 2 attacks only.
Okay. So what are the tactics that were used? You're going along the valley, or you're going on one side of the valley? How are you managing? What height were you flying above the crest line, below the crest line?
Sir, we used to around 4 helicopters took part in Tiger Hill attack. So three aircrafts actually were orbiting over it, and one aircraft landed at Matayan, picked
Okay.
up one army officer over there. And then all along between Tiger Hill and Tololing, there is one ridge line. Along that ridge line at takeoff power, we used to climb, go to about 3 to 4 kilometers north of target, and from there turn 160 degree, 140 degree, and put aircraft in dive from about 5.4 kilometer. Tiger Hill was around 5.2 kilometer or 5.1 kilometer. Those attack posts were there, and attack, and then after trim the rotor RPM, because VNA at that altitude was just about 120 to 130 kilometer, and we were sitting
So
down.
you can explain this. You can explain this in simple language to people, because VNE and all these technical terms, the veterans may not be able to understand. You can just put it in simple terms.
Okay. As helicopter starts flying higher and higher, the tip of main rotor actually reaches supersonic speed. And in case you increase your aircraft speed, that speed is added to tip of the main rotor. And because of compression effect, aircraft rotor brake might break. So that is the limiting factor for the helicopter for forward speed. So in case aircraft which is flying at sea level, say at around 250 kilometer, at around 18 to 19,000 feet, its speed reduces to about 120 to 130 kilometers. And that is very, very low speed at that altitude for a person from ground who is tracking you or going to shoot you down.
Correct.
The only solution for that time, what we thought, was to reduce the speed of rotor so that you can increase little bit of speed. Okay. So that is called VNE, velocity not to exceed at particular altitude. So, and Mi-17 was the only helicopter which could have been operated at that altitude, because Mi-25, that is gunship, was unable to operate beyond about 10 to 12,000 feet with ammunition. And obviously, only aircraft which was with ammunition was Mi-17, and that was used. And during these operations, only pilots from Hindon and Sarsawa, they took part because they were operating detachment from Srinagar. And other pilot just ferried the helicopter to Srinagar, and actually eagerly waiting to take part also. But unfortunately, they never got chance to take part in the attack.
Right. You can tell them about a little bit about what are the CMDS and how CMDS was helping you out, and what. Then we will come to the sortie on the 28th wala sortie a little later. But how many CMDS you had? How many times you were firing the flares? And I am told that on one of the days, almost 23 missiles were fired at you, as seen by the as tracked by the Mirage 2000, which was orbiting over it.
This is counter missile dispensing system, CMDS. Okay, there are two racks on either side of a tail boom of a helicopter which are fitted, and each rack carries 32, so total 128 capsules can be fired, that is bullets can be fitted in that. There are two types of CMDS. One is shaft, in case radar is tracking you and radar seeking missile is tracking you, then shafts are used, those are metallic strips. And other one is flare. The flare, which is basically like a bullet, looks like a 12-bore gun, and it is like a DIWAS fireball. So when it leaves that place, its temperature is around 15 degrees centigrade, and it is fired towards your engine exhaust. So once it dies down to around 700 degrees centigrade, then after its effectiveness is lost. So in case some missile is fired towards you and you are operating CMDS, so engine, this fireball from CMDS has a higher temperature, and it will attract that heat-seeking missile. So it will not go towards the aircraft, but it will cross very close to your aircraft, maybe about 10 meter or 5 meter or less than that, but it will not hit your engine.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we were not very well prepared during that time, and we were not very well equipped that time. There is another system which is called EFS, that is engine efflux system. where you put a cooling system on your exhaust while you are flying. Some secondary air, that is air because of forward air, forward movement, that gets into engine exhaust and it's deflected towards your main rotor. So in case your engine temperature, exhaust temperature is 600 degrees, it drops down to almost 400 degrees. And it's difficult to acquire a helicopter with heat-seeking missile, which has generally range of about 3.5 to 4 kilometers.
This is
But
the
in case this, exactly, this EFS is in case is fitted, then range of heat-seeking missile reduces almost by half. So it can acquire target only at around 1.5 kilometers instead of 3.5 kilometers. We had only 4.5 sets of this, and these were in some different places, but were not fitted on the aircraft. Okay, once we lost the aircraft, then after we started fitting this on aircraft and started carrying out trials.
Can you see this? Just a minute. We'll just take a 30 seconds break, Pandey. So this is the place, this is the engine, put on the engine exhaust, and the air comes from this side, fresh air, mixes with the exhaust air, and it is blown into the rotors. So your temperature of your engine is reduced. I mean, not for the heat-seeking missile to look at this, that much reduction takes place of the temperature of the air that is coming out of the engine. The other thing that he spoke about is over here in this area. It is from where they fire this flare. Now the flare generates heat, and it generates a false target for the heat-seeking missile, and the heat-seeking missile goes towards the flare rather than the engine of the helicopter. So these are the two things that I wanted to, and these are the rocket pods. There are 3 of them on either side. So total 192 can be carried, but for weight considerations, in those times, they were carrying about 126 to 130, I think, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so this is why I just wanted to explain to you on the slide, right? So I'll just stop share and come back to Pandey, right? So other than that, what was the there was this sortie with you were given fighter support during this every sortie that you flew. The fighters were giving you some kind of a support from the top. So tell us a little bit about that also.
So it was not only fighter support, it was by Bofors also, ground fire also. So to keep the target low, that is head down, continuous firing by Bofors used to be there on Tiger Hill and even Tololing 4150 whenever we used to engage target. About 7 to 10 minutes before that, guns used to stop firing and fighters used to start attack from east to west. And on top of that, there used to be a cap which used to operate overhead, so that in case there is any threat from Pakistan side by air, then they can take care of that. And when we used to be about 3 minutes short of attacking, 3 to 4 minutes short of attacking, fighters used to finish off their attack and we used to get into dive and fire, because actually helicopter were actually sitting duck in case you have a good ammunition. Absolutely. Because of speed, and it was almost a stable target. You don't have to track also. You can just focus and wait and let helicopter come near you and then after fire. So that was the basically strategy which was planned when helicopters carried out attack.
Okay, right. So a little bit about casualty evacuation. What number of casualties did the Mi-17s evacuate? What all, where all did you evacuate from, and what was the condition of our soldiers that were being brought back?
Sir, after attack also, we used to land at Matayan, and Matayan was the main base for army. And initially it was close to Pandras, but subsequently they used to fire, and that was very not safe. So closer to Zozila, near Matayan, field-based hospital was established in tents. So all the casualties which were coming from Tiger Hill and Tololing were brought there. They were given first aid, some amputation also used to be carried out there. And from there, we used to carry all these casualties to base camp, base hospital in Srinagar, BB camp basically.
Okay.
So some dedicated sorties for casualty evacuations were also carried out, and I carried about 126 casualties during that time,
My God.
out of which 8 people lost their life in the aircraft. They
Okay.
were with oxygen. Some were freshly amputated. Some were bullets were also not removed because of they said ki after 25 minutes those bullets will be removed. In fact, our casualty rate was much lesser because people who were hit by enemy fire, maybe because of splinters and other things, they were treated in base camp, and then after they were given leave, and their names never featured in initially list of casualties, and that's why number of injured were much lesser. So whenever we used to go to any place, actually, it was not only the attack which we were taking part in. We used to go to Kargil also. Some VIPs also used to pour in during that time. Even during the thick of war also. So plus some Mirages pilots, sir, I carried them twice for a recce of Tiger Hill and Toloning because they were quite late. They were inducted into the Kargil action.
Absolutely.
So this kind of sorties we used to carry out, and we used to get message from somebody that landed at Mata, and we got about 10 casualties. We used to pick them up. One was quite interesting, sir. Once, even with CNC on board, I diverted back to Kargil and picked up 4 casualties. And because of that, Josh, I didn't even seek permission from him. Ki, sir, I'm turning back and landing for casualties. I just landed, I opened the door, asked the casualties to come inside, and then we took off back for Srinagar.
So that was Vinod Patni sir was there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So this is what helicopters are all about. You can do all kinds of missions can be done within by the same helicopter. Just have to keep changing the role. For the role, you have to keep changing some things in the helicopter, like attachment of the pods and all that. So there was a large amount of work that was done by the ground crew, and there was one technical officer. What was the name? Flight Lieutenant. What was the name? Jamdar. So he used to work on
He was the engineering officer, sir.
Jamwar. He used to stay on the helipad, come at 2 o'clock at night and start working at the airfield. He never used to go back for meals. So much of josh he had. The meals used to be sent to him near the tarmac only. He used to live on the tarmac all night, all day. That is the way the our ground crew was working day in, day out to keep our helicopters and our other machines, of course, flying over there. Because, role change takes a lot of time. You have to remove the doors at the back. You have to, put some blankings on the hydraulic systems. There's a lot of things that need to be done for a helicopter to change roles. So it is since it is such a versatile machine, all the time the demands keep changing, and therefore the requirements also keep changing. So sometimes, some op mission comes, firing mission comes, suddenly they say, no, this will not go, change to something else. So this kind of activity keeps going on the tarmac. So all, we must salute the airmen of the units that time who worked relentlessly on the aircraft and ensured that there was no delay from their side at least. Okay. Now, speaking of delays, we will be talking now of the final mission on the 28th, which was actually one of the last, offensive mission that went through. Like he said, the night mission later on did not go through. The last offensive mission by the helicopters was flown 4 aircraft formation under Wing Commander A.K. Sinha in the lead, and Squadron Leader Pundir, who was the flight commander, had just joined on 27th. That is 1 day before the sortie. 1 day before he had come from Hindon as a replacement crew for somebody. And so he had come in. And so he had, since he was flight commander, he joined as number 2 to Wing Commander Sinha. And then there were other crew. So we will hear this whole story about how this entire mission was planned, what happened, what were the delays that took place by the fighters by the helicopters, due to which the fighters went ahead with their sortie, and when these guys went there, the fighters had already gone, so the enemy had enough time to recuperate and fire at us. So this was another reason, the delay that took place due to technical problems that led to the loss of one helicopter being flown by Squadron Leader Pundir and Flight Leader Neelan. Okay, so go on, please. All yours, Pandey. All yours.
Sir, on 28th May 1999, initially total 6 helicopters were planned for attack on Tololing 5140. Now, geography of Tololing 5140 is, in case you see from south to north, Drass is there, then 4590 first peak is there. From there, about 4 kilometer down slope is there. There is a ridge line which goes into depression, and from there it climbs up to 5140. So there are 2 peaks like this. In case you see, this is Drass. From here, you go to 4590. Then there is a saddle, and there is a 5140 Tololing peak, and we are coming from this direction. Okay, so on previous day, after we lost both the aircrafts, there was a briefing, and during that briefing, one army officer said that we thank Air Force that because of that, Tololing 4590 is with us. That is 4590. Yes, Drass. Now you can see on top there are 2-3 huts. Those are 4590. From here, if you go towards further north, there is a saddle which goes down, and then after it climbs up, and 5140 is there. So we were told that this point is with us. So in case this point is with us, then the saddle is dominated by our troops. Nobody can fire from this point, and subsequently till about a target point. We will get hit only from target area in case that is held by enemy. So we planned attack on the 5140, which is Tololing 5140, about 7 to 8 kilometers or 9 kilometers from this point, which is shown on this slide. So total initially 6 aircrafts were planned, out of which 2 aircrafts were without CMDS. I was number 6 in that formation because reasonably junior by that time. But experience-wise, almost I had finished more than 3 years in Srinagar operation. So I was independently flying on that number 6 aircraft. After starting up, we realized that 2 aircrafts are unable to start, and they went unserviceable because of different reasons. One was number 1 aircraft, which was Wing Commander Chinky Sinha's, AK Sinha's aircraft. And all the aircrafts were parked at quite a distance because should there be an aerial attack from Pakistani side, our Asher should not be at one point and should not get damaged. So there was a distance between 500 to 600 meters closer to some bunkers, closer and well protected helicopter because of sandbags and other things. So, and one more helicopter from Sarsawa went unserviceable, in which Wing Commander, then Squadron Leader Kulkarni was there. His aircraft also went unserviceable. So Winko Sinha took a vehicle, came to my aircraft, my co-pilot left the aircraft, and he was a QFI, he was flying from the right side. Now we became number 1 helicopter. And then when we started off, it was no RT call, but little bit calls were given. All the aircrafts took off simultaneously. When we entered Valley, that time we realized that there are expected 5 helicopters because Winko Sinha's aircraft was unserviceable, but there were only 4 helicopters. So he said, Arvind, give a call. I said, Nubra RT, Nubra 2, Nubra 3, Nubra 4. So I could recognize Nubra 2 and Nubra 4, but I couldn't recognize Nubra 3, which was actually that day Squadron Pundir, who was flying in that aircraft. I was familiar with other, but I was not very familiar. So I told him that in Nubra 2, so-and-so is the number, 4 is so-and-so. Then after we landed at Matayan as number 1 aircraft and number 3 were slowed down, they were over Zozila. we picked up Captain Adhikari, who
Yeah.
got Paramveer Chakra.
He got killed later on.
Later on, we picked him up. He was observer. Basically, he used to tell us, he was supposed to tell us exactly what target looks like and where to fire. So we climbed up, and as soon as we crossed this Tololing 4590 and went ahead, we didn't realize that somebody is firing at us during that time. Now, out of 4 aircrafts, 3 aircrafts had CMDS and number 3 didn't have CMDS. So the tactics which was there, that from 5 kilometer onwards, we'll start firing flares. And we finish our firing, rocket firing at 2.5 kilometer. And now when we are getting out also, from target till 5 kilometers out, we'll fire flares continuously, because we don't have any means of knowing that there is an attack from ground. So it was planned that missile range is about 3.5 to 4 kilometers. So we start firing from 5 kilometers to save ourselves, CMDS basically. Fire our ammunition, and then after exit, go about 5 kilometers till the time you are protected with CMDS. Now, number 1 and number 2 both had CMDS. So we used to fire only one side CMDS, so that we use those CMDS for maximum time. And when we are away from the target, that time we fire other side which is closer toward the target, and we used to exit. So from number 1, I fired. I was told that there is a Sangat line. On top of that, there are Pakistani troops. So we fired on that. So first was slightly lower, then after adjusted and then fired, it went on to the target. We don't know what kind of damage must have created. Number 2 also continued firing, and then after he turned out. Number 3 now, when he went into the attack, he fired and he peeled off to the left. Now this time number 4 was, till then number 4 was giving him cover with his CMDS. And we were told subsequently that there were total 23 hit-seeking missiles, for shoulder fire missiles were fired from this post, which is shown on the slide. Okay, 4590 and in between saddle also. So when number 3 fired and he turned away from the target, he was away from the number 4 aircraft, which was protecting him, which was giving him cover with his CMDS. And that time when I heard the call, starboard engine on. This is Natasha call, that is in Mi-17. There are 6 major emergencies. In case any of that emergency happen, then this is transmitted on all RT channels and especially on emergency channel. And this is a very shrilling female voice, so that nobody can miss that. So only heard that starboard engine on. Complete call should have been starboard engine on fire or something like that. So I asked Chinky Sinha sir, I heard of some female voice. So just natural, he said maybe some airlines. So I said, sir, we are on confidential channel. So then it clicked us, something has gone wrong. When we landed at Matayan, by then number 2 and number 4 were almost crossing Zozila. When we landed at Matayan, first time I saw, that time brigadier and above were obviously top brasses, they don't run towards the aircraft. So one brigadier was running towards the aircraft and he came to our aircraft. Chinky Sinha sir went out. He told us that while going there were 4 helicopters, but while coming back only 3 helicopters were there. This was somewhere around 11:45 in the morning. Then Sinha sir told me that switch off helicopter. I switched off helicopter. Adhikari also got down. And there were some army cheetahs which were parked there. Sinha sir went in one of the army cheetah to the crash site. And obviously that aircraft, between Tiger Hill and Tololing, there is one ridge line. On that ridge line, it had gone and crashed. And smoke was coming out, and obviously there was no chance of anybody surviving there. In fact, Pakistani used to use their ammunition very wisely. All the shoulder fires they used to use only against the threat, aerial threat, which is to them like armed helicopter or fighters. They never use this shoulder fire to on Chetak and Cheetah. Okay, because losing ammunition and then after you are empty-handed is the biggest stupidity to do. So when this Cheetah went there, nobody fired on them. It was about maybe about 5 to 6 kilometers away from the Dololing 4590. And then after we came back at Matan and this, sorry, we are also on webinar and we are on media, but irresponsible media behavior is always there. So this was live telecasted and by 11:55, this news of shooting down of helicopter was there. And we got a call that come back immediately to Srinagar. And we started up aircraft and went to Srinagar.
Okay. Okay. So it was not a very happy happy day for helicopters, but nevertheless we should not forget the flight engineer and gunner along with Squadron Leader Pundir and Flight Lieutenant Mohilan, who gave their lives in protection of our country. So our salutes to them. And incidentally, just for Mr. Pathak, I have got an interesting. Who is this? Mute kar dete hain. Ha. So what had happened was on the 27th when Pundir was coming from Sarsawa in the N32, Mohilan's wife had sent a birthday cake for Flight Lieutenant Mohilan, whose birthday was on 28th, or they were going to celebrate on 28th after the mission. Okay, so that birthday cake was lying in the room, and unfortunately we lost Mohilan in this crash, and that birthday cake continued to remain there on the table, reminding people, So in my book on the Kargil war that I wrote, I have written one very nice sentence that I wrote. That the cake. This one, Squadron Pundir. Yes, who is this? Flight Lieutenant Jamwar. Who told me this? One second. So, the untouched cake kept on Mohilan's bedside kept reminding me of my roommate, a stark reminder of the cruelty of war. This was said by this guy, squad leader Chauhan, na? Who was it? Who was there? Huh?
Jamwar.
No, Jamwar nahi. This guy's roommate, Mohilan's roommate was
Chauhan was there, sir.
Chauhan. So Commander Chauhan gave me this quote. So he says it reminded him of the war all the time in his room.
Sir, actually, during this operation, we were aware about the ground fire threats, sir. Because in sector first aircraft, Canberra was shot by Stinger missile. And there were communication that this shoulder fire are there. But in spite of that, knowing well that threat is there, because of that, in planning also, we planned that two aircrafts will be close to each other in body and protecting each other. Knowing that, Pundir, Mohilan, Sahu and Prasad, these four names are always there in my head, sir. Okay. They willingly took part in this attack. Otherwise, we could have gone with 3 helicopters, or instead of 6, only 4 aircraft should have been planned that time. Now it is in retrospect. But hats off to their bravery, because knowing the threat, we soldiers just go ahead with the war, because whatever is told to us, we follow that. Because in case in war, you ask question, then after you will never win.
Yes. So thank you for that story. Thank you for that story. And we are at 7:20 now. We'll take some questions, which if anybody may have. And in the end, I want to, there's Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee's speech in Hindi. I will just play it for everybody's sake. It is a beautiful poetry that he recites about the war. So you please hear it. When I played it the first time, only 3 or 4 people were online. I'll play it again in just 1 minute and 30 seconds. So we'll take on the questions, please.
छोड़ो तो बकवास।
Yeah,
Good
any
evening, Pandey sir.
question?
Sir, good evening.
Sharmaji, you had some question?
Can you please that particular moment, sir?
So please repeat your question. You are muted initially.
Sir, you were fired. Your helicopter was fired by 23 missiles. So how could you save yourself, sir? God bless
Sir,
you, long life.
Okay, as I told you that our aircraft had CMDS, that is counter missile dispensing system,
So,
which a fireball comes out of that from the aircraft and it goes towards the exhaust, and its temperature is about 1500 degrees, and exhaust temperature is between 650 to 700 degrees. So the heat-seeking missile is diverted towards that fireball. So, like Hindi movie Hero, we don't dodge those missiles. Okay, those
Sure.
missiles get diverted because of that fireball, and that's how we were saved. And I don't have that recording, but during that Kargil operation, one Flight Lieutenant Kamtan, who was a flight engineer with us, a brave guy, he
Sure.
sat in front of the aircraft, in front of autopilot, and he was recording with handycam. And in that handycam, 2 missiles are crossing in front of number 1 aircraft, that is what we were flying, was recorded in that.
Thank you, sir. You had 8 casualties in your aircraft, in helicopter. It was a really brave feelings you had to face them. It was, we salute you and we pray for your long life, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody, any more questions?
Sir, if there is a time, can you tell little bit? You have done some casualty evacuation and help during Kedarnath flood also. So can we have some 2 minutes narration on that?
So instead of that, I will tell about Kargil only. So in Kargil,
Okay.
at Matan, there
उसके
was
लिए
a
एक और
base
करेंगे.
हाँ?
केदारनाथ के लिए एक और करेंगे बाद में. तो अभी आप कारगिल के बारे में बात करिए.
There was in Matan, base hospital was established. It was in tent. Okay. So on 6th and 7th of June, I was still continuing operating over there. So casualty evacuation was, I was told there were some casualties, bring them, and it was around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. So once we landed there, they said it will take about 15 to 20 minutes to get casualties ready, because 2 of the casualties with man mines. Okay, man mines are small little bit of dabbi, like a jewelry box. And in case you put your leg on that, then after your leg gets telescope, okay, 2 bones go into each other and lower leg becomes like a Maggie. Then after you had to ampute and then after evacuate. And Pakistanis had this artillery shell which they used to fire, and at about 150-meter above ground level, that is to burst and discharge all these man mines. And that was biggest threat to army troops. So in case you go out of their exact track, then few people will get injured, and in case one person gets injured, then almost 9 to 10 people are required to bring him back. So your force is reduced when you are attacking. Okay. So that day there were some 11 casualties and there were amputation going on. And I'm not very sure how true it is. Then after they used to keep this amputed portion in one ditch. And at the end of day, the board of officers used to be conducted and then they were disposed of. So it was already sunset and I told them that we are not authorized to fly after sunset. So army people just gave me a nice mouthful. So I waited there, and after that I took off after sunset from Matan and brought them There was one Sardarji at base hospital, sir. He was a driver. And you land at any time, night, day, morning, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, he used to be there with full energy. He used to work. So his ambulance was there. He switched on his ambulance light, and in those lights, we landed at base hospital, came back to Srinagar. 2, 3 senior people gave me a mouthful that you are not expected to do this. But ठीक है सर, दिल को अच्छा लगता है तो कभी कर लेना चाहिए.
Good. Very nice. Good experience. Any more questions?
How many people can be accommodated in that helicopter during casualty evacuation or
No, on the altitude. It depends on the altitude. In altitudes where 15,000 to 18,000 feet, जहाँ पे ये लोग operate कर रहे थे, so you can't carry many. You can't carry many troops in the Mi-17 also. The power margins are very less.
So about 10 to 12 casualty evacuation from Matayan, which is at altitude of about say 12,000, 13,000.
तो Matayan तो बहुत नीचे है. After 15,000 feet, the
it drastically drops.
The performance.
Yes.
अच्छा, एक और story जो मैं बताना भूल गया. Of the Mi-26, the Mi-26 pilots told me a story about their aircraft was only one aircraft was available in Chandigarh that time, and rest were on overall, and this aircraft was unserviceable for want of one generator was not working, autopilot, one channel was not working. Okay, so they were asked whether they can fly without the generator and the autopilot. So this gentleman, he took off, the Mi-26 flew without one generator and landed beyond midnight with lots and lots of ammunition for use by the artillery guns. And so otherwise we were running out of ammunition that time. So Mi-26 became a savior for the army to get their ammunition up to Dras and beyond. So this is one story that I thought I will tell you in the end. Okay.
And when this aircraft was crossing Banial Pass, sir, there was an intercept that badi chidiya ja rahi hai, kya karna hai?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Pakistani knew that the big helicopter was going. Anyway, so that is part of small stories that make up the war. And would you like to hear Mr. Vajpayee's speech now?
Yes, sir.
Pathak Sahab, laga दूं?
If there are no questions, we can go ahead, sir.
I would like to ask one question.
Yeah, you can ask till the time I will set it up. You can ask the question.
And my question is very simple. When you are in an attack and a lot of much takes place and you come closer to the ground, was there any ground fire from all arms? I hope my question is clear.
Not very clear, sir.
Not very clear.
Not audible.
When
You are not audible, sir.
Can you hear me? Now, can you hear me now?
Better.
Now it's audible.
You see, when you go in a dive and you fire, and you have to arrest your downward movement, and then you pull out. At that time, you are very close to the ground. Was there any small fire from the ground troops? And if yes, how effective was that?
Sir, one thing is there, sir, the helicopters generally don't carry out dive attacks. We carry out LDA, very shallow dive, 2 to 3 degree dive, not more than that, or about 5 degrees maximum. So there is no real actual pull out that we do in this particular thing. And small arms, of course, the helicopters were fitted with on the sides. They were fitted with armor plating. Most of these helicopters were fitted with. Am I right, Pandey?
Yes, sir.
So we were fitted with armor plating on the sides, and the important components of the helicopter was kind of protected from small arms fire. Up to 12.7 mm it can take. From at a distance, it can take a shell, so it can take quite a beating.
No, I'll just tell you why I asked this particular question.
veteran of 1971. And we carried out attack on mine, if I remember, 13620 or 630.
Mike.
Point. That was the spot height 13620. East of Kargil. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
And it was captured during 71. And after the ceasefire, it was not, that area was not handed back to Pakistan. And now still it is in our area. Over there, when we carried out the attack, a lot of small arms fire created a lot of damage on our aircraft, although we were flying vampires.
Sir, in this, all the peaks were at quite altitude, and we never flew over a ridge line. So the distance from ground was about minimum 1 to 1.5 kilometer or more than that only. So in case of HMG heavy machine gun also, the generally effective range is about maximum 2 kilometers. And Pakistanis didn't have this kind of HMGs over Tololing 4590 / ridge line. And maybe that is the reason why helicopter was not attacked with that. And
No,
no
the second reason is that since we are flying low below the ridge line and our camouflage, we get camouflage with the surroundings. It's very difficult to spot and aim your weapon downwards to fire at the helicopters because they are masking, kind of terrain masking most of the time. And against the backdrop of the green below, you can't really see the helicopter very well. It can't be spotted so well by the small arms fellows.
Okay, Sati and Pandey, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And our salutes to you for your work in 71.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. I'm just playing that sharing the screen. You can hear Mr. Vajpayee reciting the poetry. You can please mute your microphones, please.
After that, I will talk for a minute, sir.
अपने ही हाथों तुम अपनी कसम खोदो, अपने पैरों आप कुल्हाड़ी नहीं चलाओ। ओ नादान करो, आंखें खोलो, आजादी अनमोल है, इसका मोल लगाओ। पर तुम क्या जानो आजादी क्या होती है? पर तुम क्या जानो आजादी क्या होती है? तुम्हें मुफ्त में मिली न कीमत गई चुकाई। अंगूठों के बल पर 2 टुकड़े पाए हैं, माँ को खंडित करते तुमको लाज ना आए। शब्दों से अपनी आजादी को दुनिया में कायम रख लोगे ये मत समझो। अमरीकी शब्दों से अपनी आजादी को दुनिया में कायम रख लोगे ये मत समझो। 10-20 अरब डॉलर लेकर आने वाली बर्बादी से तुम बच लोगे ये मत समझो। धमकी जिहाद के नारों से हथियारों से कश्मीर कभी हथियार लोगे ये मत समझो। हमलों से अत्याचार संहारों से भारत का शीश झुका लोगे ये मत समझो।
So I'm sorry for the quality of the audio, but this is a very old speech, poetry by Mr. Vajpayee. So it was, I think, a befitting end to this talk by Wing Commander Pandey. So thank you very much, and I leave it to JW Pathak to close the proceedings.
I'm thankful to basically our main guest, Pandey sir, for giving us excellent narration. And from his busy schedule, I know he was busy flying throughout, right from morning. He's doing that Char Rama Seva nowadays. But even then, he was so much enthusiastic about giving all these details to us. I'm very much thankful to him. And thankful to our Nitin Sate sir. He is conducting our webinar so well. He is taking it to our different heights. So So they and all the people, all those who attended, I am thankful to them. And lastly, P.B. Rao also for making excellent arrangements for this Zoom meeting.
Meeting on.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, Bhavani sir wants to say something. Sir,
Okay.
Bhavani sir wants to say something. Want to ask. Please allow.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Bolo sir, bolo. Bhavani sir.
Sir, good evening. I am once again Kamal. That is from there.
माइक को जरा पास माइक को पास में लेना.
Sir, are you, can you hear me, sir?
बहुत कम आवाज नहीं.
Late.
Hello.
And the local
They are not able to do.
Okay, then leave it.
Right. Kargil war है.
I think we can't hear
सुन
Mr.
नहीं पा रहे
Bhavani.
आपको. We are not able to get you.
starting. हा पाठक ओळखलं ना. हा बस. JWO Junior Warrant Officer पाठक.
पांडे सर, उनकी आवाज तो नहीं आ रही, मैं कुछ पूछूं?
हाँ पूछिए सर।
हाँ सर, जैसा कि आपने बोला कि जो दिल में आए तो कभी कभी कर लेना चाहिए, तो जब जनरल मुशर्रफ आए थे अपने यहाँ, तो कैसा था आपका क्रोध, और क्या आपके मन में लग रहा था कि वो जो कैजुअलिटीज आपके एयरक्राफ्ट में थी, उनका चेहरा आपके सामने आ रहा होगा कि इस व्यक्ति की वजह से हमारी ये कैजुअलिटीज हुई है, कैसा फील कर रहे थे?
सर एक्चुअली जब लड़ाई में आप अपना रोल करते हो तो उसी पे फोकस रहता है ज्यादा
जी।
कि जब जैसे हम अटैक पे जाते हैं तो लोग पूछते थे कि आपके बीवी बच्चे, उनके बारे में कभी सोचा? नहीं सोचा है एक्चुअली, क्योंकि इसे वॉर गेम कहते हैं। जैसे कोई इंटेंस गेम आप खेलते हो तब आप सब चीजें भूल जाते हो, उसके गेल के शटल पे या बॉल पे ध्यान रहता है। वैसे ही इस अटैक में हमें अपना काम करना था, वो किया, और उसमें सक्सेसफुल हुए अनसक्सेसफुल हुए ये अलग बात है, पर सेटिस्फेक्शन पूरा मिल गया। हमने अपना रोल किया। पॉलिटिकल लेवल पे क्या हो रहा है उससे हमें उस वक्त कोई मतलब नहीं था, ना ही उनके लिए बहुत ज्यादा क्रोध था या दोष था। जो लोग मारे जाते थे वो भी अपने देश के लिए मर रहे थे। अब हमारा हेलीकॉप्टर शूट डाउन हुआ, बुरा हुआ मानता हूं, पर हम उन्हें मारने जाते थे तो ऑब्वियसली वो हमें मारेंगे। वॉर गेम है, आखिर में लॉसेस दोनों तरफ से होगी। So that is part of life, sir. That was what our thinking at that time was also, and today also, sir.
Well said, Pandit.
Thank you, sir. आपकी संवेदनशीलता के लिए कोटि कोटि प्रणाम, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay then, thank you very much everybody, and all the best, and see you next week for another round of Kargil. So we'll be discussing some other issues with other people. Good day and have a nice week ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Pathak sir. Thank you, Sate sir. Thank you all, everybody, all participants. Thank you, sir. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Hello.
पांडे सर अभी भी लाइन में है, कोई कुछ भवानी शंकर जी पूछिए, पांडे सर है लाइन में।
Sir, are you able to hear me?
हाँ हैं सर, है लाइन में, बात कीजिए आप उनसे।
नहीं, are you able to hear me? सुन रहे हो आप मेरे को?
हाँ, सुन पा रहा हूँ थोड़ा थोड़ा।
हाँ, sir, I am once VIJAY Sharma, flight engineer from Jaipur. Actually, I am very thankful to you. You have just named my colleagues, Ajay Sahu and Sergeant Prasad. Sergeant Prasad was with me in on the ground, and he was very nice. So for that, thanks a lot. And sir, next week I am planning for Kerala. Can you help me that time if I want to tickets?
तो जिसे भी समझ में आ गया होगा तो बता सकते हैं, क्योंकि आवाज बहुत ज्यादा क्लियर नहीं थी।
I don't know.
You are asking about Sahu.
Yeah. Hey, I'm giving thanks to you for naming me, because
ground road administration. The air airport name never come. That's why wanted to thank you.
क्वेश्चन समझ में नहीं आया सर, ऑडियो थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम है उधर ना.
Okay, sir. I don't know what is the problem with my phone.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, for allowing me to share my views, my experiences. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Have a nice day.
It was our pleasure, sir. It was our pleasure. And
Thank you, sir.
we are very much thankful to you. Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.
शर्मा जी,
हाँ
मैं
जी सर.
पर्सनली आपका नंबर दे दूंगा आपको.
हाँ,
हाँ, ठीक है.
You can talk to him on a phone.
डायरेक्टली बात कर लेंगे सर.
Late in
sir-
the evening आपको.
हाँ.
हाँ, मैं उनको नंबर दे दूंगा आपका सर.
जी जी. हाँ, सर.
Because your voice is not coming through. Sorry for that.
I don't know what is.
And all of you are requested, instead of putting your identity in terms of your mobile, you kindly write your name. For us, it will be easier to know who are the people attended. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Thank you, sir, for starting the new session, sir. God bless you, sir. We pray for your long life. ऐसे करते रहिए सर.
We'll continue.
कार्निक सर कहाँ है? कार्निक सर.
करेंगे सर, ग्रुप के लिए तो करना ही है.
बिल्कुल, प्लीज प्लीज सर. थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू वेरी मच. गुड नाइट सर.
Okay. Good night. Good
आप
night.
ही
all.
बंद करो. आप ही बंद करो.
या मैं
हम
बोलता हूँ उसको.
हम अपनी तरफ से नहीं बंद करेंगे.
ओ,
हाँ,
नहीं.
जितनी देर तक देख सकें एक दूसरे को देखें, हम नहीं बंद करेंगे. आप ही बंद करो. हेरम चेनी सर.